A few months ago, I made a video called 5 Simple Habits That Will Easily Improve Your Street Photography, and a lot of you seem to enjoy that, for which I'm very grateful for. But in the same way, just as there are as many habits that can improve your street photography, there's also a number of habits that can ruin your street photography. And the worst part is you may not even know that's the case. But fear not, because help is at hand. Because today, I'm going to explain 5 habits that are ruining your street photography and how you can fix them. Let's get started. Start with number 1, which is you don't shoot enough. Now, of course, I'm aware and accept that we all do have personal lives. We have family matters to attend to, work commitments that take up priority, and many other things that happen within our personal and work lives. And that obviously, as I said, does need to take priority in your time. But when I suggest that you don't shoot enough, I'm not suggesting that you set aside, plan ahead a day to go out there and do street photography, set it in your calendar. I mean, if you have that ability, that'd be great. But you don't actually have to set aside hours upon hours of a day to go out there and shoot. What I'm just suggesting is, to fix this habit, is that if you, for example, have to walk your dog every morning, take your camera with you to the local park. If you find yourself you walk home from work, you walk to work, and it takes you maybe through a nice scenic area, take your camera with you. Or if you're maybe just going to the shops, whatever it is you're doing, if you can find half an hour of that, take your camera with you, because you never know what it is you might come across. Longer term viewers of my channel will understand that I'm a massive advocate for taking your camera as many places as you go, if not everywhere where you go. So I understand sometimes that's just not always feasible, but I just think that it doesn't take huge levels of commitment to just take your camera with you somewhere. All it takes is just for you to have it on you for maybe just that odd time, just to keep the momentum going, just to kind of dip in and out of it and not kind of leave it to the side. Because again, another thing is, the longer you leave it, the more I think your passion for it will dwindle and wane away. So it kind of just depends on not necessarily how serious you want to take it, but just in the sense of you just want to keep your passion for it going and just keep your hand in it. Number 2 is limiting your style. Now, don't get me wrong, having a style in your photos is great. It gives you a distinctive look and helps set you apart from all the other photographers that are kind of in your field. But it can be easy to kind of go down a rabbit hole where it kind of becomes, because you enjoy it so much, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but because you enjoy making that style so much, you kind of disregard every other possible style there is. So if you're someone who enjoys moody black and white photography, you might not like early morning sunrise photography, or even photography with the long shadow effect. And that in its sense can really hinder you, because it does kind of limit your opportunity to take photos. So if you can, again, if you're someone who likes moody black and white photography, you can't go out during sunny days, because again, it doesn't suit the kind of style you're looking to create. And full disclosure, I will admit I have fallen prey to this many times. For me, I was the guy who only went out there and shot moody rainy photography with the umbrellas, to create that try to create that dystopian feel to my photos. So I'm speaking from personal experience, and I know just how frustrating, how limiting that is. So while it's great that you do have a definitive style, I think a style should be used in the broadest sense possible, in the sense that you have something you want to go out and do, but you should also look to apply that to all scenarios, regardless of time of day, time of year, weather, everything, because scenarios I don't think are always ever going to be in your favour. As a photographer, and a street photographer in particular, where the environment is working against you, you have to be very flexible, and you have to be able to adjust and go with the flow in the terms of how the surroundings around you are working. Number 3 is an imbalance in your camera gear. Now, this could mean one or two things. Either you don't go out with enough camera gear, or you go out with too much. Now, let me explain the first one for you. In photography, I understand it's easy for us all to have our own favourite lens. I don't think there's any street photographer out there who doesn't have their set favourite lens. Mine's is, of course, 35mm, which I've got on me today. And there's no problem with having that. The issue arises when that is the only lens you will work with. If that's the only lens you will take, as in like when you're prepping to go out for a street shoot, and that's the first thing you pick up and it's the only lens you want to take, that in itself really does limit your ability as a photographer. Because by doing so, you're kind of disregarding like the fact that, yes, alright, that particular lens might suit you and it might help you get the kind of style of photos you want to get, but it's hindering the possibility that you could get there are other lenses that could help you. One lens does not fit all approaches. Other lenses can do things that certain lenses can't. So I do believe that, yes, of course, right, lenses are expensive, so you can't go out there and splash cash and spend your life savings on it. But I don't think it's wise to completely disregard all lenses and just take just one lens out with you. And the second way this one can work is that you take too much camera gear. You'd be surprised the amount of people I've seen out in street shoots who seem to carry with them every lens possible that the camera brand they have makes out for just on a street photo walk. Now don't get me wrong, of course, like I said before, you shouldn't completely disregard all, like, just take one lens out with you and disregard all others, but there is such a thing as too many. I've seen people out there carrying things like 2 primes, 3 telephoto lenses and a macro lens just for street photography, which is a bit excessive if you're just kind of taking a walk around town just for a day at least. Like, this part is just in my opinion, but for me, like, the most I'll carry with me on a street shoot, or if I'm going on holiday and travelling and doing street photography, I'll take 2 primes and 1 telephoto lens. Try to carry, find that balance, I should say, find that perfect balance between not too little and not too much, where you're still able to travel somewhat light-ish and your camera gear isn't weighing you down, because it gets to a point, if you're using too much, you feel like you just have to use the lens just to say you've used it, rather than actually utilising it for what it's made for, and that is to help capture a moment, a scene and a situation to help build your body of work. Number 4 is replicating your inspiration. Now, there is absolutely nothing wrong with having an inspiration. I think it's actually encouraged, because it would help you kind of open up your eyes to a different style of photography that you may not have discovered on your own. It can help you see and learn certain things about photography which, again, you may not have been able to discover solely. But the problem is not having inspiration. The problem is trying to replicate your inspiration's work shot for shot. And sometimes this can happen without you actually even knowing it, where you have it in their head when you're trying to like plan a photo and you're out there taking like your photos in the street. You might actually have it ingrained in your head, oh, what would Fan Ho, for example, do in this situation? What would Saul Leiter do in this situation? You have it in ideas like, I have that photo in my head and that's what I'm gonna go and create. That's not necessarily how inspiration is supposed to work. Inspiration is supposed to actually give you motivation and to get you started out there and to try and find like what it is you want to make and the style of photos you want to create. And like I said, this can happen completely by accident. You might subconsciously not realise you're doing this. I had to think of the word there, thanks for bearing with me. You might subconsciously not realise you're doing this by completely shot for shot recreating your inspiration's work, and that's absolutely fine. But it's even worse when people out there are deliberately going out there and trying to replicate past experience work or their inspiration's work. That's not how photography is meant to be done. Photography is about taking inspiration and understanding how your inspirational photographers worked. How did the past greats kind of operate? How did they plan a situation? How did they set up a composition? How did they work the light that worked in their favour? How did they work the light that was presented to them to that day, or on that day, sorry. That's the kind of basis of it. You take the absolute bare bones of how that photo was made and apply it to your own style. And last but by no means least, number 5 is that you focus on trends. Now, I understand in today's digital world, and where times of like where likes, followers and subscribers even, that is treated as social currency. It's treated as social validation. It's like whoever has the most followers, the most likes, is the most important, is the most valued person. But by focusing on what's hot and what's popular and what is getting likes and attention and followers, by doing that, you're not necessarily developing your own work and speaking your own voice and telling your own story through photos. You're just doing what everybody else is doing, and there's nothing to set you apart from the wide varied other photographers out there. Now, I've been doing photography for several years, and there might actually be people watching this who may have been doing photography longer than me. but I can say with experience, I've been around long enough to tell you, and as quick, as fast as a trend can catch traction and become popular, is as equally as quick as it can fade away and just be forgotten about. And for me, if you look back on a portfolio you've built with nothing that were just trends at the time, it has no value, it has no substance, because it's not really your photos and your body of work. And for me, the short-term fixation on achieving just immediate likes and gratification is not worth the long-term goal set, in the sense of like actually building a portfolio. It shouldn't be about what is good right now. It's about just creating work that will tell your story in years to come, even when you're built on more and you've developed your body of work, you've developed your skill set further. And importantly as well, in my opinion, and I'm not trying to sound like a dinosaur and take away what is kind of like a modern word as what trends are. For me, photography is not about trends and what is popular in an instant moment in time. Photography is about building a body of work that has a series of photos, each of them not necessarily better than the other or equally as good, but tells a narrative that the photographer, you, is trying to tell, has told the story and body that you've tried to build. So that is it. That is just 5 habits that are ruining your street photography and how you can fix it. I hope you found that helpful. I just wanted to say that obviously, of course, yes, there's plenty of ways you can improve your street photography, and I touched on that some time ago. There's also ways you can ruin your photography, and it's worth keeping that in mind. So I hope you found that helpful. If you're someone who found one of these these tips that have resonated with you, please let me know. This is obviously not a finalised extensive list. There are more ways to actually ruin your street photography, unfortunately. So maybe that's a video for another day. But as always, let me know your comments down below. Thanks again ever so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.